How's everybody doing? Wanted to go over a trade we took today. As you can see, it was taken at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. We just added in and then pulled that stop to break even. I was being a little bitch, but um, I had been going break even on all the other trades and not partialing up until this point. So, right, I wanted to just show the executions real fast into how many cons I had, into where I held how many cons to where. But as you can see, I have breaker putting on there. It hasn't formed quite yet, but I know right at the point that we're going to, put the high resistance lows in, coming into the 330 Judas swing from London. And, it's not right into the London Open, but right as we've seen plenty and plenty of times, we've seen, London Open, right, and then come into that 330, and then into the 430 as well. So just depends what time it is. It did chop around for a little bit and come into the 4 open, into the almost the 4 close, but our reversal was around the 330. I caught that a little bit lower, and then you guys saw me add in. Right, it was like a couple seconds at the beginning of the video where I was in 5 cons, but you guys see me. I'm in 7 now, and sadly I didn't uncover the amount of, so you could see the ticks. But, right, we were holding to the Asia high. I think I went ahead and TP'd one somewhere above midnight open, but right, I held 4 or 5 cons to the Asia high, and right, went break even on the last one, and I'm also in 1 mini, as you can see on the right side of the screen here, right, with the, this is micro, NQ, so, skip ahead a little bit here, right, yeah, I took profit of 1 con right above midnight open, and let the rest run. I may have honestly taken profit a bit early, because honestly, it was just early and I was just trying to go to bed and just not have as much risk on the table going to sleep. But it wasn't like a, super, super early take profit or anything. I was probably like a, 10 or 20 ticks away, so it's not that big of a deal. And I know if, you're trying to, have a consistent RR, it can be that big of a deal. But, as you can see, oh, I actually moved so I moved it and moved it back. But as you can see, we're up, 234 ticks on 5 contracts. I went ahead and removed this because we started expanding really quickly. And also, I knew we would end up getting up there. Went ahead and took profit. And, I didn't really worry about, fully taking the Asia high. It was like 4 in the morning at this point. But let me go ahead and mute this. When it comes into our morning here, sorry about that. Comes into our morning, right, where we see our London, reversal, expansion above the breaker, leaving a breakaway gap, right, and we come fill that imbalance, right, and move higher. At this point, I think I was out of all my NQ contracts. I did want to hold that one to previous day high, but as you guys saw, we had this SMT here, and I'll point that out right on our own chart here in a bit. But right with that SMT there, I wasn't risking. I think I was up like 500 something at the time. We'll see. But yeah, I was definitely up 500 on that last mini. So there was no way I was, letting it retrace, and hold, it's 500 ticks when, I could get 600. So it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it was over 500 because I took profit like as soon as the SMT occurred and we had a black candle. So it was probably like well within like 520 or 530. And a lot of the people who have that, 1-to-1 RR are, like that inverse RR has to, hold. I average like 5 RR, so we'll say 3 for the bad days. But even then, like, I can take profits a little bit early, and even myself, I just need to get a little bit better at holding. Imagine if, well, no, I'm not gonna say imagine, but as I should have held profit till the Asian high, and as you see on the hourly candle, it would have expanded perfectly to Asian high, and I would have had nothing to worry about. But I took profits a little bit early, just because, none of my rules were broken. It was just a little bit early. And honestly, I was in a good amount of profit already at that point. and I knew, honestly, I was pretty confident in the previous day high, but at that point I had already been up a good bit of profit. And you really shouldn't trade the chart with that profit in mind, because obviously I would have made more on a day where it was free, like given to me. You can also see our hourly rejection block there and our failure to close with under EQ of it and reacting off previous day equilibrium as well. We also, right, just kind of before we get on the charts, marked out our range high from this range low, right, and had our equilibrium and OT of it. And right around when we came into previous day equilibrium and OT of the range, we stepped right into equilibrium on ES. And with ES being the bullish pair, that's what you kind of want to see, is us coming into equilibrium and, not really halting around there, kind of reversing and coming into, right, a distribution after a manipulation. We also see a pretty clear market maker model, and as well as, that obvious overnight Asian accumulation into your London manipulation into your New York distribution. So we can see we're approaching 600 ticks here. Profit will be hit soon, and then we'll hop on the charts and get into a little bit more detail of how exactly I was able to catch that in the in the London reversal. And I feel like it's not quite hard to say how I held it, because I just put my stop at break even and held it, and break even never even came close after that first scenario with us coming into that retracement into the breaker. Profit's been hit, and you guys saw it was roughly around 600 ticks. I didn't end up showing my profit in that little recording. Right, we ended off the day. I let those three contracts come. It was roughly not to break even. Right, the day ended up roughly around here. So I ended up around 7,000 on the day, and that was roughly around like 10,700 something. But right, very, very good day to catch a London manipulation into a New York expansion. And guys, I've talked about that plenty of times in my honestly every single video. I talk about a classic Asian accumulation into a manipulation into a distribution. Obviously the accumulation doesn't have to be straight up and down when we need to retrace a little bit, and that just leaves a little bit of manipulation for London. That just, if we did chop up straight up and down, London probably would have just manipulated harder. Right? The high for the day was predetermined. And even if my final profit didn't get hit, right? I took profits where I knew the low-hanging fruit was, and left what was left on the table what I felt comfortable losing. And as you can see there, even then it was 175, but that take profit would have been over. It would have been over, I think, like it would have been 14 or 1,500 more. So I would have ended up, having a 12K day and just letting my runners run, And that's what you got to do is, a lot of the times, hold break even, or just don't touch your orders, just let them play out. And guys, be sure if you haven't already to check out the comments and check out the description, and you'll see the invite to my Discord server. I don't gatekeep shit. Y'all see the videos. Like, it's hella good free content. I've talked about this almost pattern plenty of times, and it's not a pattern, but it's the same idea and narrative playing out plenty of times. Right, we see here, we have a range that we've put in, and not just a range where we want to sweep the range low, but a high resistance low with discount, and OT of the range. We see we've come into OTE on the ES chart, we came right into equilibrium, and we heard earlier with it being the stronger pair, that's what you want to see. This does look sloppy, but it does make sense for our 4-hour, just needing to distort time, and then form our smart money reversal. We closed above the high, aggressively react by touching the wick of the order block and expanding higher, leaving a breaker and a breakaway gap. We see then we continue to take out the Asian high, and honestly, the real Asian high here, I was just going off the Forex, but we honestly, inversing this move higher and reacting off this, reacting from this high here. This was our easy low-hanging fruit. And then, past this, I knew we would go ahead and continue into previous day high. Honestly, that's just, good draw, just having a good understanding of draw and liquidity. Seeing our order block, right, react, us forming our breaker and our 1 hour CSID, and even, right, that model playing out here. And, that leads me to not even have to really look at the chart during New York Open, but, it does just allow me to kind of just tape read and, right, go over members what they're seeing, what they want to take if, they haven't been in a position already, because we do have a clear draw on liquidity, right, coming from a daily and weekly standpoint. Seeing on our daily chart, right, we've SMT'd lower, formed an INWOG for the Monday, and used Monday for our education on into Tuesday, right, with a clear draw higher, a daily close above, an INWOG, and us reacting off the INWOG in such conditions, right, reacting to the order block breaker here, and then putting in a new higher high, right? If you look in, lower time frame terms, right, you can see that as a high, a lower low, a higher high, and then a right swing low. So you have your breaker-esque pattern here. You come into OT of it, right, within your narrative standpoint of Asian accumulation, right? You can see your accumulation. Well, even if you see it like this, right, accumulation leg 1, lower low, accumulation leg 2, lower low, accumulation leg 3, lower low, right, 4, lower low, and then your smart money reversal into a distorted, into a distorted smart money reversal. Also, your obvious accumulation, manipulation into London, distribution like we talk about for our power of 3. And yeah, taking the path of least resistance versus a high resistance low, and knowing that this low is not going to get taken, right? We're in a discount, OTE. Not much more to it. You could have a CRT entry on there as well. I just wasn't really looking out for it because it was, pretty obvious on our draw and liquidity, and we just needed to find an entry. Like we talked about, even if you weren't able to enter into London, right, this 1 hour breaker into your 8:30 manipulation was good. Obviously, we didn't have news, so a lot of people didn't like this 8:30 manipulation, and a lot of people also didn't like this small soup here, but right, that's a clear induction of liquidity with equal lows, right, with a PD array being tapped multiple times, right, induced liquidity in both directions with our higher time frame liquidity above and our equal lows here. We sweep that coming into open for a lower time frame accumulation, manipulation past our equal lows, right, equal highs, or excuse me, low resistance highs with equal highs here. There's your IFEG trade if you really want to be like that. But also, here's your 3 candle model, right, with your 1, 2 liquidating the previous low, closing back within the range. And then, we'll see here if we come in even lower. Low. Right, we come in even lower. 15-second doesn't look that good, to be honest. And also over here looked a bit weird, but doesn't come in perfect sometimes. You just got to be able to catch it. But on a 5-minute breaker, I wouldn't even be entering on this candle. Well, I guess you technically could, but I would have wanted a it wasn't terrible, right? Entering on that breaker, right? Delivering from here. But either way, right, you would want to be able to get your stop below here, so you'd want to enter somewhere in a discount. And the 15-minute, right, wick doesn't look the best. And as we also saw in the hourly, the wicks were pretty long. But you also do have a, right, 8 a.m. protected low. And I haven't even looked for SMTs, but we do know this candle was SMT'd. Or, can't remember which one, but either way, right, just a, pretty simple overview, right? There's, I feel like there's not that much to it, right? Having your simple draws on liquidity, obvious power of 3, obvious market maker models, and, right, just adding, the range and the all the PD arrays and your time-based liquidity ranges, and pairing them all together and catching low day to high day. So, if you have any questions, there's the comment section and the Discord. But yeah, very, very blessed to be able to, one, even stay up till 4, and, to be able to be in the spot to where I can hold that and, finally be able to, hold, even I used to like tweak about 1 mini past 200 ticks, but that 600 ticks wasn't too bad. We wanted to get 1,000, but if we would have expanded through the New York Open, way more aggressively instead of what we did, I would have been more confident in it. Also, our higher time frame, is, I wouldn't say super obvious in both directions. There's kind of a lot of things saying, but down and up. So, just playing it safe, but also, finding our day in the week with, an obvious Monday low, and knowing that, if we're gonna go lower, we're gonna have a Tuesday high of week to go. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Excuse me. If we're gonna if we're gonna go lower, we're gonna have to manipulate this high to run higher than lower, because this low here is turtle souped, so there's no need to run this low before this high. We know this high is gonna get ran before this low, and so that's when you come into your manipulation. You just have to find a good time to enter with a solid low. I'm pretty sure I might have even entered. I entered like one of these for sure. But I had 2 break evens and are like 3. I can't remember, to be honest. It was a long night. I was in the 8. Yeah, it's a long night. But either way, long night to get paid. Just either way, I would have had to stay up. So it's 4 in the morning for me. But other than that, great hold. Got a little bit of sleep in, then woke up and was able to look at the New York session and confidently hold to take profit. Hope you guys learned a little bit from this one, and I'll see you in the next one.